what's up, guys, boys and girls, fellow collectors from all around the world? Yvan Seb, the French collector, is back for yet another long overdue video, guys. So, 2 years after modding my Hot Toys 1/4 scale Batman Begins figure, I decided to finally do the same with my 1/4 scale Joker. Back in the day when I pre-ordered this figure, I already knew I was gonna do it, so this is why I bought the special edition, which came with 2 head sculpts. So that's the magic of editing, right? Removing the hair looks very easy on video, but it was awful. It took me a long time. I had to pull as hard as I could to remove the hair that was glued, and then the rest I had to use the grindstone and the X-Acto knife. I then used epoxy clay to resculpt the back of his head, and I used a tool to sculpt wavy lines in there that would later help me going in the right direction when gluing the real hair. And then I painted his head brown, just to make sure that the epoxy wouldn't show through the real hair later on. What you see here is just a few seconds of me repainting the sculpt, but really I had almost 2 hours of footage. I also clear coated his eyes, and with a toothpick I applied clear epoxy resin to recreate tiny little sweat drops. I was trying to recreate his look from right after the interrogation scene when he's trying to get to Detective Stevens. How many of your friends have I killed? Do you want to know why I use a knife? Which is just my favorite Joker moment in the entire movie. I didn't use any screen caps. I was just trying to improvise and see where it gets me. Believe it or not, this was my first attempt ever at rehairing a figure, and I really need to send out a huge shout out to my buddy Jacob Rahmier, who's one of the greatest artists in the 1/6 community. A real genius, and I watched hours of his tutorials, and I kept sending him videos and pictures to keep him updated and ask for his opinions and guidance, and he really helped me a lot. So thanks a lot, bro, if you're watching this. While I'm at it, I also want to thank 2 of my other friends, Rafael, Robledo Jr. over there in the USA, and my brother, who I've known for so many years now, Dean Knight, over there in the UK. These 2 guys are legends. I also send them tons of pictures and videos asking them for their opinion, asking questions such as, do you think it looks okay? Is there something I should change? Is there something I should add? And their honest opinions have been very helpful. So thank you guys, I appreciate it. Another thing that makes this version of the Joker my favorite ever is all these creepy psycho tics and mannerisms. Especially him constantly licking his lips and scars. So what I did is I used the other head sculpt that came with the figure and used it as a support to sculpt and paint a tongue. And finally, what I'm doing here is I'm applying hair gel to the hair, and that's it, done. And the tongue is removable and fits the other head sculpt as well, which is cool. Because I was fairly satisfied with how things turned out with this head sculpt, I decided to add real hair to the other one as well, and I gave it a slight repaint, but nothing major, just the scars and around the eyes a bit, so I didn't film that part. Another nasty feature of this Joker is his long fingernails and the makeup on his hands, so I decided to sculpt longer nails and repaint the hands as well. Now with the coat and jacket, things turned out okay, but still not as good as I hoped they would. But that's okay because the Hot Toys coat isn't very accurate to begin with. And since I made this video, I got the Daft Toys coat, which is much better. So I just used the Hot Toys coat to experiment things. So I used steam to change the color lapels a bit because they look a bit too wide, and I used different techniques to weather the coat, such as paint or chalk powder. And last but not least, I modded the stand because as much as I like the bats on Batman's stand, I think those ha 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 plates on here just look too silly. So I cut them off, filled the holes with epoxy, sanded, repainted, and boom, that's it. So I might still change a few things on this figure in the future, but for the moment I'm pretty happy with how things turned out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll leave you with these few poses, and I'll be back soon. Thanks for watching.